Monkey Punch!
Electric State is getting hated on for no reason.
I'm not eating the freaking Masters of the Universe tie-in Zagnuts in the original packaging!
Oh, okay, there's a few reasons, but I mean...
Come on.
Let's talk about it, but first, like and subscribe. Okay, let's get to it. So I get the reviews. It's sometimes slow, it's kind of weird for a new IP to hit these days, and it might not be the mega hit that Netflix wanted it to be.
Now, what I need is for you to admit it.
But sometimes, and I mean sometimes, I would like to remind some of the other YouTube reviewers that this is technically still a family movie.
Got fortune cookies, General Tso's chicken, orange chicken, chicken fried rice, pork fried dumplings, all that stuff. It just doesn't go bad.
Just like Star Wars and a bunch of other franchises, it's technically for 12-year-olds.
Chill!
It's barely pushing a PG-13 rating, and you expect it to hit like a Nolan script. But listen, this is basically just a Disney or DreamWorks movie from back in the day before they were just cookie cutters. This isn't a film for another 30-year-old Reddit guy who wants every film to be another Matrix reboot, which, let's be honest, wasn't that great either. It's a kid's movie, like a fun but dark and kind of existential, sometimes goofy, nostalgic family kids movie. But just like the 90s, Electric State doesn't shout its message. It's like a half-tune radio on your dad's old Chevy, just clear enough for you to hear the message, if you're paying attention. And what it's saying is that this movie is about being unique and how we used to want to be unique. Not to go viral, not to build a brand, but because being yourself, like truly yourself, used to matter so much more than it does now. And that used to really mean something, to have something that is truly you.
Touch my hair and I'll kill you.
Great example, Keith's hair looks like he lost a fight with a weed whacker, but it's great because it's not about looking good, it's about looking like Keith's. In a world of drones, both literally and metaphorically, that kind of thing matters, you know? And through that idea, this movie is quietly kind of grieving something. It's mourning how we stopped wanting to be a one-of-a-kind and started trying to fit into the mold designed by others. And the Neurocasters? Let's be honest, they're not just creepy. Like, imagine walking in on your dad in this thing. And there's a metaphor there. They took messy human people and replaced them with smooth, hollow replicas, all while people just sat there and got fatter and fatter on the couch.
Metaphor.
They made being lazy the goal instead of being a real, living, breathing human. I mean, do you ever scroll through Instagram and feel like everyone's auditioning for the same part in a movie? Think about that, and now look at the real robots in this movie. Cosmo is like an 80s cartoon character with feeling. Herm is built like a toolbox that has seen some pretty weird stuff. And Mr. Peanut, well, he's Mr. freaking Peanut, so I mean, come on guys. And kind of a post-apocalyptic wizard in this movie, and I kind of love it, so come on, just chill.
Chill!
They're broken, quirky, alive, and one of a kind, just like you and me. Their flaws don't make them less, they make them them, and I think that that's the point. The movie is saying that, you know, it's okay not to match, and it's okay to be weird. You don't have to polish yourself into a little Apple product. Sorry, Apple, I love your products, don't hate me. And yeah, blending in feels safer, but there's a cost to that, because if you erase what makes you, you, then what's left? A personality designed by trends, optimized for likes, pre-approved by the algorithm. The Electric State doesn't just miss the past, it reminds us that we still get to choose who we are, just like we did back then.
Join humanity, son. War is coming.
Michelle and Cosmo aren't just fighting a big war, they're just walking, trying to hold on to what's real in a world where everything has been flattened and filtered into oblivion. And that's kind of beautiful, right? Just a girl and a robot. Because deep down, I think it's safe to say that we all kind of want that, right? I mean, to be seen, to be known, to have someone look at your weird hair or your scars or the awkward silences and say, you know, it's cool. I see you and I like what I see. You don't have to be efficient or polished or marketable, you just have to be you. And if that's messy, at least it's honest and it's unique, and that's enough.
You could change the world.
But I do have some gripes, and one of them is this line right here.
While in Detroit,
Kid Rock threw a party celebrating the defeat of the Robot Equality Coalition.
Before I say this, let me be clear. I am not a Kid Rock fan. I am not a Trump guy. I don't have a Let's Go Brandon bumper sticker on my Jeep. I would never put a bumper sticker on my Jeep. Are you crazy? What are we doing here, man? She's beautiful. Like we said, this is a family movie, right? A kid's movie, a weird sci-fi film about robots with feelings and a girl trying to save her brother. So why are we dropping this political landmine right at the beginning of this family fun film? Let's not play dumb. It's not just a joke. It's shorthand for Republicans. Here's the thing. If you say Kid Rock is having a barbecue in the context of our government is building a wall to keep robots out, that's a landmine. You just told half of America, hey, the Republicans are aligned with the bad guys in this movie.
My toaster breaks, I get a new toaster. What if
that's murder? Do you hear yourself?
No,
It's
bots
murder.
have an on-off switch.
So now we have a metaphor for immigration policy, which is cool, go off. But you also made it cartoonishly obvious who's on the bad side. And that's fine if your movie is about that, but if you're making a PG-13 road trip movie where a girl bonds with her dead brother's robot while fighting off an evil tech cult, maybe, just maybe, chill and let the story make its own point for once. Because here's what happens when you pull this kind of thing. You don't just make a statement, you alienate the people who could have otherwise loved the movie. And not because they're evil or stupid for being Republicans, I don't get it, but whatever. It's because you didn't trust them to get the message without poking them in the chest with it. You made a wall a metaphor, that's fine, that works. The idea that people build walls around anything that they don't understand, that's a good theme for a movie, and I'm on board with it. But whenever you say that the people that want the wall are the Kid Rock side, you turn that metaphor into a middle finger, and instead of a nuanced idea, you just dunk on them. And again, I'm not defending any actual policies. I'm saying that there's a better way to write stories that invite people in instead of pushing them out. Because this movie had a chance to say something universal, something kind of powerful. It's about fear and control, safety versus freedom for all, and that's a great message. So can't we just have robots fight the drones without drawing a political cartoon in the middle of it? I'm just saying. And while we're on that, let's talk about the drones while we're here, because the metaphor goes way deeper and it's worth unpacking. The movie brings up drone warfare, and that's real. The Marshal isn't a warrior like Keats. He's a guy in a chair pressing buttons from thousands of miles away. He's basically a drone pilot with a massive kill count, but he's never broken a sweat. And hey, being good at video games takes skills, reflexes, precision, nerves, but it's not the same as being in the fight, and I mean, Keats really got his hands dirty, it seems like. He really risks something.
You don't blink. I blink.
And the Marshal acts like he's a
really badass.
I was gonna say war hero, but really he's just a guy sitting on a couch in pleated khakis like he's playing Call of Duty Ego Edition. He's definitely got a god complex and probably zero real combat experience. Meanwhile, Keats was in the dirt, bleeding for real. One of them is a soldier and the other is probably just really good at video games. It kind of bothers me that we explore the Marshal more than we explore Keats, because Keats is one of those characters that feels like he has way more under the hood. We just never really go under it.
As far as beautiful places to starve to death, Moab's fine.
He's an ex-soldier for sure, but was he a deserter?
They opened fire anyway. Tried to kill us both, so we ran.
Maybe he was a scapegoat after Century's drones made human soldiers obsolete. When he talks about disappointing his parents, or the other way around, it feels like his dad might have been some big deal military figure, and Keats' classic 90s style is the black sheep that walked away from the family.
They never had a chance to let you down.
They wouldn't let us down.
The movie kind of hints at something like this, but it never really digs in, which really seems like a missed opportunity. Also, let's talk about Keats and Herm, his bestie, roommate, life partner robot.
I love you. I mean, really. Maybe more than a friend.
Look, we're not gonna slap a label on it, okay? But they've got that we've shared a can of beans in a war zone kind of energy, and now they'll die for each other. It's probably not romantic, but it might be romantic, but it's probably not. It might be. It feels more like a life companion situation.
We got lunch boxes. Go eat a lunch box.
It definitely opens the door to a lot of questions, and honestly, I'd watch a whole spin-off series about these two just driving around robot country, solving problems, and low-key rubbing knees. Okay, that's probably it for the review. I might have a bit later, so stay tuned. but now we're gonna break down the characters. So if you're new here, this is how it works. We break down the main characters so that we can deep dive into the plot of the movie without interruptions. So don't click away unless you want to click the like and subscribe button. Michelle, played by Millie Bobby Brown. She's our lead. She's strong, quiet, and she has that teenage girl thing where she looks like she's constantly processing a deep emotional monologue. Millie Bobby Brown is really good at making us feel the simmering emotions under the surface, and I really do mean that.
Turn the page.
She's got that 11 vibe, like I've been through some stuff and I don't want to talk about it, Dad. It's very 90s, just in case you weren't there.
Your brain is the single most annoying thing in my life. It's also the most amazing.
The only thing is, I really have no clue how old she's supposed to be. Is she 15 or 25? Well, I mean, I guess she is in high school, but there was a war, so then how old was she whenever the car accident happened? It's just confusing to me.
It's so important to Ted. Why doesn't Ted tell me himself?
Either way, she's a fiery soul in a flannel jacket, and it actually works for me, even with a couple of horrible dialogue points.
Always remember, Kid Cosmo's your pal.
But that's okay in a movie like this, right? Christopher, played by Woody Norman. Michelle's brother, he doesn't get much screen time, but he's kind of the whole point of the movie.
Einstein took that test, became Einstein, and they stole his brain.
He's a genius, but now he's kind of a ghost in a machine, and he's a kid whose mind has basically been hijacked for the tech greater good. And on top of that, now he's stuck inside of a robot of his favorite cartoon character, Cosmo.
Kid Cosmo's your pal.
It doesn't really seem like he has a big arc, it's kind of more of a feeling, but also his arc is the entire movie, so it does kind of work. And it becomes a loss that you don't really get over at the end. Keats, played by Chris Pratt. Let's be honest, Keats is that dude and he's kind of awesome. He's gruff, he's guarded, definitely the type to say I'm not good with people while being very good with people. It's kind of like a 90s movie trope.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
He's a soldier with a past. He was probably left behind by the system after the Sentry drones won the war. Maybe he's even a deserter. Now he doesn't take life too seriously, which is kind of my thing, so I dig it. He mentions his parents like he really let them down or like they really let him down, which is super 90s also, but I would love to get deeper into that story. And let's just say it, Keats is deeply emotionally entangled with his robot best friend Herm. Like we said earlier, we're not calling it romantic, but we're not calling it romantic. You know what I mean? Herm, played by Captain America himself, Anthony Mackie. Honestly, probably the best character in the movie. Herm is a walking tank built like a Russian nesting doll with arms. And somehow he's the sweetest dude in the room.
For real. Your sister's no good to you dead.
He's Keats' ride or die, and their bond is tight, weird, and honestly kind of 90s beautiful, let's be honest. If Keats is the brain, then Herm is the heart and the soul, and also kind of the muscle.
I don't know. You're the red one.
He's got a size for every occasion, it seems, and I bet you that Keats loves that. I think it would just be cool because if this movie had action figures, Herm would probably come with like 5 different sizes that go inside of each other. Ethan Skate, played by Stanley Tucci. Now this is our villain. He's charming, he's powerful, and absolutely the type to pitch world domination in a TED Talk.
I never trusted them. They're not us. So how would they possibly understand our best interests?
He runs Sentry, and yeah, he wants to change the world, but it's turning the population into mindless drones. He found a way to put your mind in 2 places at once, so you could be getting a massage on one side of your brain and working a job with your drone on the other.
Welcome back, Christopher.
And to do this, he doesn't care who he hurts, especially super smart kids in comas. Progress at any cost, I guess. Mr. Peanut, played by Woody Harrelson. Yes, there's 2 Woodies in this movie.
To listen to a fiery speech made by former Planters promotional bot, Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut is now the leader of the robots, which is now a nation, or at least it's trying to be.
I don't guess you'd know what it's like to have your very right to exist depend on a piece of paper.
Imagine if, well, Mr. Peanut became Martin Luther King Jr. It sounds nuts just saying it, right?
No offense.
Get it all the time.
He's wise, but maybe a little bit jaded and broken, but he's trying to keep the robot community together, and honestly, Mr. Peanut for president, let's do it. Dr. Amherst, played by Ke Huy Quan. He's the guy who invented the whole Neurocaster mess.
You held my hand, and you lied to me.
He's a broken man carrying the weight of what Sentry did, especially what they did to Christopher.
You take Christopher and run.
He's not really the villain, but he did a bad thing that he feels that he needs to make up for. He's the man who gave the monster its powers, and now he's trying to figure out how to live with it. Okay, we did it. We are finally at the breakdown. The world was fine before the war. Actually, pretty great if you were a human. We had robots for everything. Cooking, cleaning, construction, hauling trash, building highways, everything you can think of. They never got tired, they never complained. It was basically the Jetsons if the Jetsons had no ethical boundaries. Actually, now that I think about it, they kind of worked Rosie the robot to death, didn't they? But then the robots started asking questions as they got smarter. They wondered, why am I doing this? Why can't I leave? Why don't I have a choice? They started campaigning for rights. Peacefully at first, there were rallies and debates, but we didn't want to hear it. The nice way to say it is we weren't ready. The robots are, well, machines, and it's easy to turn a machine into a killing machine. The war basically became cute Terminator, but eventually we did win, if you want to call it that. The uprising was crushed and the free-thinking robots were rounded up and dumped into the exclusion zone. And in their place, the humans built something so much worse. Neurocasters, a system that lets humans upload their minds and control a new generation of walking drones. Humans live in a simulation numbed out in their digital dream bubbles. Okay, now we're caught up, let's get to Michelle. It's 1994, but not the one that you remember. It's like a Black Mirror episode of the 90s. The world is dystopian, but they don't show it that much, just enough to get the point across, but not enough to scare the kids, you know? Michelle doesn't really buy into the Neurocaster thing. She's the definition of a 90s teenager and her foster dad really sucks. But somehow she is getting by even though her entire family passed away in a car crash. But that's when Cosmo the robot shows up. Cosmo is Christopher, Christopher is Cosmo, in a sci-fi uploady kind of way. After a fight with her foster father, she hits the road and now she's on the run from the cops for harboring a robot. And it turns out that he needs to go to Tabletop, which is deep in the exclusion zone. But Michelle and Cosmo keep going, and eventually with them trying to get into the exclusion zone, they run into Keats. He's holed up in an old mining outpost. With him is Herm, his giant nesting doll style construction robot who's part best friend, but also part emotional support best friend. At first, Keats wants nothing to do with Michelle, but then the marshal shows up and destroys his hideout, and he kind of has no choice but to go along with it. So Michelle, Cosmo, Keats, and Herm take off. Eventually, they reach a mall. Yeah, a mall. And inside, they meet the Mr. Peanut. He's been keeping the broken, exiled robots alive here. Like a cyberpunk Moses, he's brought them all to the promised land. It's just this promised land has a hot topic in it. Whenever they tell him about Cosmo or Christopher, he's not excited. He really just tells them that they have to leave because they're violating the treaty by showing up. But just like the Mr. Peanut that we know and love, he has to fight for the greater good. So he, a mail delivery robot, and a batting coach robot help them find Dr. Amherst so that they can figure out what's going on with Cosmo. But the marshal is getting closer. The drones are locking in on the mall, and now Mr. Peanut won't be there to protect them. But anyways, the team is on their way to Dr. Amherst, the guy who created the Neurocaster network. He explains that Christopher was the breakthrough. He's the one brain that could connect the Neurocaster to itself. And that's why they took him, and that's why he's in Cosmo. Christopher's mind became the foundation for the Neurocaster network, and he's not okay with that. But Cosmo can't really talk, so he can't really tell anyone. And he doesn't really have time to explain everything before the marshal shows up. When he gets there, he has an epic fight with Mr. Peanut, and in the chaos, Amherst dies. So then the final push comes to Sentry Tower in Washington State. All of the surviving robots form up and attack, but Sentry sends out drones of their own and the fight is on. Michelle and PC, Amherst's robot, push deeper into the core of Sentry's tower, into the place where Christopher's mind is wired into the machine and his body, well, his body is kind of barely hanging on. PC sets it up and explains that there's only one real option, and it's to let him die and destroy the Neurocaster network forever. So Chris and Michelle have one more final moment in their living room, and he asks her to let him go. So through tears, she does it. She pulls the plug and Christopher dies. The system collapses across the globe. Drones freeze in place like statues, and the dream ends, and these lies that Sentry was pushing are all unplugged. The main team survives, and Keats and Herm have that strange moment, you know? Michelle is now kind of a celebrity and gives a great speech that kind of copies Ready Player One, but that's okay. And in the final scene, Cosmo reboots in a junkyard alone, so maybe, just maybe, some small part of Christopher is still inside, and that might mean that he's up for more adventures. Hey, thanks for watching. Click here for more videos and subscribe to keep up with all the Blake's World updates. I'd appreciate it. All right, I'll see you next time.